So I actually want to ask you something, right? In every sport and every esport particularly, whenever you have this classic contrast of like, oh, look, here's the new guy and he makes X million in his first year. Oh, look at this legendary player who, had to like win everything and they barely made any. They always contrast sports and esports like that, right? Because basically it's just the cliche of like, oh, don't you wish you played in the current era where there's all this money and fame and stuff? What do you actually think about that, CArn? Is it something you ever think about, mate? Because obviously you retired just before CSGO came out. Like, you in theory could have played a couple of years more. You could have got to the period where there was majors and the prize money went up like 10 times and stuff, couldn't you?
So you mean from like a FOMO standpoint, like I missed out the timing?
Yeah. I mean, think of it, if you were like a basketball player in the 1970s, you see like the rookie contract now and you think like, holy fuck, that's more than I made as like the best player. So, and that's the reason a lot of them wish they were kind of around now,
Yeah. I think it's a good question. I've been reflecting around this, right? Like there are definitely moments, I don't know if Lurpies can or Tommy these days can also relate to that like when you kind of, gave in and stopped playing, there was moments you probably felt like, actually I still got it because you maybe still played a few games. I think I even stood in our team every now and then. And I don't know, you maybe, can I actually still do this? Is this still fun? Whatever. But I kind of found peace in the fact that I was still very connected more back then than today with the actual competition. It's maybe not in the history books, but I was a head coach, for example, when head coaches probably didn't exist, right? So even the first CSGO major, I was behind the team I was a part of. I was super excited about still being a competitor. So maybe I'm not the best person to ask this, because I think there's so many other cases. You can probably name even like 20 different teammates of mine that went on with the traditional life. And I imagine, I can't speak for them, but every now and then we meet up for beers and we maybe check in with each other on Facebook Messenger, whatever. I think those people have bigger regrets than someone that kind of transcended, left that player thing, went into coaching management.
Because I think you're still connected to esports, though.
Yeah, that's my entire point here, right? So you asked me, I think you asked me at least whether I feel like, I should have kept going, bigger paycheck, prize money, new title and all that. But I think I think I'm happy about the timing I choose and the way we also ended CS 1.6. When I gave up the in-game leadership role, I probably sucked badly at that time of retirement, and we got a new team in, I think, for the next 10 or 12 months or something like that, because we were one of the late movers to CSGO. I could be wrong, but my recollection of that period was that we left CS 1.6 as the absolute most.
You won everything.
Team.
Yeah. We won every single tournament, literally.
And Trace and those guys.
Yeah.
We obviously struggled to kind of get on the right track in CSGO early, and we had like a Swedish lineup. We had a mixed lineup with Danish players. Probably the only time in our history. Supnix played in our team for a while as well, right? So exciting times. So not too many regrets. But curious to hear from Tommy. But I guess similar to me. Well, you went to London, you worked in finance, whatever. So maybe that created different kind of emotions and different kind of attraction back to the competitive days, because there are definitely days, I was going to end saying this, right, like where it's a lot of admin, forecasting, planning, goal setting, board meetings, whatever, and you're very far away from the actual competition. Those days you feel, I kind of want to be back in the stadium, I want to be behind the team, I love just having a beer after a tournament and speaking bullshit, like those stuff you can miss obviously in certain days, but generally speaking, quite all right,
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just feel like if you like the time to quit is when you first start thinking about quitting, because then, like, if you're not 100% sure, then like you probably shouldn't be there anymore. So, I think I quit when I first started thinking about quitting. I just quit, and I never really played again. I, obviously stayed pretty connected even during the time that I worked in finance. So, I've never sort of missed esports in that regard, I suppose. So. I mean, I have no regrets. With that said, like, if we could have gotten paid 10 times more than we did when we played, like, I would have taken the money. More money is usually better than less, I've found.
You know what? That even reminds me.
That's an important point. So sorry for interrupting you now, but the salary levels and the financial opportunity in the early era of CSGO, whatever that was, right? Like, was that maybe 2012 to 2014 or so, maybe even 15 before like sticker economy came in? It wasn't that great. I imagine even our salary cost for CS 1.6 was way greater than the early era of CSGO, right? So it wasn't also like, it wasn't a good incentive from a career standpoint.
Yeah, you would have needed to stick around for like years before you actually would have gotten any of the benefits. So
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I also just think that like anytime that you're doing something only for the money, like it's the wrong choice, because you're not gonna find that very enjoyable, and like you might make good money for the short term, but like that's not what you're gonna end up doing for the long term. So like I just don't think that's like a sustainable choice to begin with, regardless.
If people don't know, the kind of money people made as salary in like a top team like Fnatic, people probably went to like half the salary when CSGO first began. So also in that sense, it was like a disincentive. Like it makes it so if someone was only playing still because it was good money and stuff, like the money got worse. No, what I was going to say was this. That just reminded me of something I'd actually forgotten. You're going to remember this, Slurpis. Do you remember there was actually a conspiracy theory associated with the podcast show? Because if you remember, I'm almost certain I'm right on the timing of this. The last ever episode we actually did live
before the major.
No, we did it at the major. Remember, we were actually there at the major because there was that picture of us like USSR hockey.
Was that the last one?
Yeah, 14. But this is the conspiracy theory though, cArn. Because on the show, if people don't know, Fnatic wasn't like a complete outsider. They were like a dark horse, basically. They were maybe like, I'd say like the 4th or 5th best team at the time, and obviously they went on to win the major. Well, obviously at the time we did this show during the major, me and Lurpis had like 100% it was going to be Nip or Very Games because they were like far and away the most dominant teams and whatever. And so because famously it always used to be me and Lurpis against cArn on all these shows because he was from Fnatic, obviously. People really thought, cArn, it was just because Fnatic won the major that me and Lurpis were like, right, fuck that, we're not doing the show ever again. But it was actually just pure coincidence. Like, that really was just the last one and we just never did another one. Like, it wasn't to do with that at all. Because believe it or not, like, listen, cArn's obviously won against us before in the past. Like, we all told him with that exist lineup was going to fucking fail in 1.6, and he just won the tournament straight after when SK had the super. So we give him his wins when he gets them. It's not all a conspiracy.
In fairness, the next episode would have been excruciatingly painful.
Oh, it would.
So maybe it's good that we ended there on a high note.
Sitting with the medal I didn't get as a head coach or coach, whatever managed to do that was behind the team. Yeah, memories. Yeah, I didn't realize it was only until 2013 we ran it, and we probably did like 20 of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.